Hi, I'm Mindy with the Extension Office, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we do record books here in Curry County. This is a basic overview of what you need to get started on your book, and then there's some subsequent videos that you're able to watch for each component to kind of learn what that needs to look like and make sure that you get your book put together. I'm going to tell you first off, even if you've never done a book and you think, oh, I don't know if I have everything I need to do a book, just get started. We're glad to help you. We have leaders around the county who are glad to help you. The big thing is just get that first one done, and then you're going to be in great shape to move forward for the next year. So I'm going to run you through the parts and pieces and the components you need to be thinking about. The first thing you're going to want to do on our website, or if you call us, we can email it to you or print you out a copy if you come by. These are the instructions for putting your 4-H record book together. Our website is curryextension.nmsu.edu. Click on 4-H just on the sidebar, and that'll take you to the page. Scroll down to record books. This is the first thing underneath there. It's got basically a checklist of everything you're going to need to have. Okay, this is my son's book, so this one is Denny's. I'm going to walk us through it really quick. Now remember, Denny's been in 4-H for quite a while, and he's done a book every year. So he may have a little more stuff in his than you might have in yours, and that's okay. Everybody's book is going to be a little bit different. So you can see this it's a kind of a press board cover, kind of a cardboard cover. We have these available in our office for $3.50. This can be your cover that you take with you. It is what we ask that you turn your book in. We also have a really simple, just a white one, a cardstock one, that's for Clover Buds. We have a simplified form and kind of some fun stuff that if you're a Clover Bud and would like to get some Clover Bud awards for doing your book, we can make that happen. Again, all of the forms and information are on the website. We can email them to you, or we can sit down at some point if you like to make an appointment and go through everything with you and help make sure you have what you need. Okay, so with your cover, now what we do is we take this, once you complete your book, you submit it to us for Record Book Awards, but then you can also submit it the following year in the fair. So that next August, you're going to turn it in as a fair exhibit. Then you can actually take what's in here out and reuse this cover. That's what we do. We have a big notebook at home for both of the boys, and each year when we're done, we take the contents out, put them in that notebook, and put the new year in the cover to turn in. Okay, these are just some really simple stick-on little scrapbooking letters that I happen to have at the house that we put on here for the information. You can also just use a Sharpie, fill it in how you feel you need to. So on this cover, of course, it asks for name, club, our county, and our state. It also has a place for your address. We don't care if your address is on there. If you're a 4-H'er in Curry County, we have your address. So mainly get that name and club on there so that we can easily identify who this belongs to. Okay, the next piece, again, on the website that you're going to attach within your book. These are our county 4-H award areas. So you're going to mark on here and you're going to tell me what projects you've completed that are in your record book so that you're eligible for a project pin in that area. And you're going to tell me how many years you've been in 4-H. There's a place for that on the top of this form. So we know what year pin you're earning. So there's project pins, there's a year pin, and then there's specialty awards specifically related to what you have done. We do some big overall outstanding in different project areas. So for instance, last year, Denny got outstanding horse record book, and he received a special award for that. Then we have an overall outstanding book, an overall outstanding home ec, and overall outstanding agriculture. Those are hard to say, where you can actually receive a belt buckle for competing in those areas. Then we have medals specifically for these special award areas, which are achievement and leadership and citizenship. And I'm missing one. Agriculture has its own medal as well as a special one for fashion review if you participated in that area with our sewing. So these are things to think about as far as when you're putting your book together, what kind of things you want to be recognized for and what you feel you need to complete. Okay, just getting it completed and in, you can earn your project pin and your year pin for sure. Okay, and then we will have our awards the first weekend of December in conjunction with the light parade. So you'll get to come and get your awards and then ride on the float with us in the light parade. So record books to be considered for awards are due in our office November 1st, complete with all the signatures and information you need to have. So how do you get to this point? How do you get it put together? You're going to want to pull out your records for what you have done throughout the year. We keep at our house these calendars, and as we do things, we go in, you see I clipped things in it, we go in and record what we did for that week or that month to have that written down. Sometimes we forget to write things down. We may have to go back and look at our newsletters. Newsletters are also available on the website if you can't find your copy, to see what activities and things went on. Or a lot of the Facebook pages for your clubs will post what you did at a meeting. So that's a great place to remember. We record now, most of us, in our calendar apps on our phones. Mine doesn't want to open. In our calendar apps, things that we have done, what we've participated in, where we had to be. So you can scroll through that. Or a shortcut that I love, that I think is very helpful, is I can pull up my photos on my phone or iPad or whatever device you use, scroll through there and go, oh yeah, that was in September. We went and did that. We participated in these things. So that will help you remember as well all of the things you did. So you're going to want to gather up that kind of information to go with and on the forms you're going to use. So let's look at what all of the parts and pieces are. We offer what we call design sets. Again, these are available on the website as PDFs that you can fill in and put in the information that you have. So it has a cover page as well as some divider pages, a place to put your table of contents. Okay, and there's 3 different ones. So Denny, this one is the clover one. Obviously you can see has a clover border all the way around. And then we have one that's just plain with a black border and a little black clover, or one that has like a green stripe. So there's 3. Some are more simple. This one is obviously a little more flashy, a few more clovers that you can pick from. So you're going to take those and fill in that information. And again, that's going to make your in-between sheets. Now, if you don't have a color printer or you don't have one that prints well, you're welcome to you have to get it together early in order to do this, but you can come by and see us, bring it on a jump drive, and we will be glad to help you get what you need printed to put your book together. We want to help you be successful and have the tools you need to get your book done. Okay, so if you need to schedule a time to come in and sit down with one of us to help you walk through the book, we're glad to do that and help you find that information. Okay, so that's your design set. This is your cover page, has a picture of you, your information. So it's going to have your age in years. Now this is your 4-H age. So as of January 1 of the 4-H year that we just completed, which runs, it's going to run October 1 through September 30th. And then the age for the year you just completed. So not what you're moving up to, but if you're novice, junior, or senior, because that's what's represented in your book. And your club are going to go on there. Your table of contents, which in the forms that you're going to have, this information is already there for you, because you're going to have your report form, your story, your photos, and then you're going to have some sheets for the projects you've been involved in. So what you're going to add in are which projects you're including in your book. Okay? One project is plenty if that's what you've had. If you've done 20 projects this last year, you can look at that and go, you know, really, these are the 3 or 4 of my strongest projects, and you can just include those. You don't have to include absolutely every project you've done. You want to do your best ones, your strongest ones, and the ones you think you're going to continue to do. Because like I said, when you become a senior and compile your books to go together to possibly win a trip, you're going to have to cut that down to your 3 top projects. So you want to have that information from every year so that you can put it together, but you don't necessarily need to have absolutely everything you've ever done. Okay, so then you've got these divider pages that section off each thing. So the first piece is your county 4-H report form. In the next series piece, we're going to talk specifically about this form, what goes on it, how you fill it in, all of the information. So it's going to tell me what projects you're in. It's going to tell me what kind of activities you've been involved in with 4-H, all the awards and recognition you've got, maybe that's how you placed at the fair. If you haven't gotten to do a lot of other awards and information, it's going to tell me your leadership and your citizenship activities, because we all know those are very important to what we do in 4-H, right? So with our club, with our county, if some of you've gone on to do things at the state level, okay, and like I said, we'll walk through specifically that form on the next one, so you know how to fill in all those sections. Then you're going to have a 4-H story. Now here's going to be your overall 4-H story. You're going to get to do a couple paragraphs for each specific project, but this is going to be your whole year. Sum it up. Tell me about what you did. We'll have a video that helps you write your story. And then your 4-H photos. Now this is where some people struggle. You can print photos and put them on like scrapbook pages. You can put them into a document and print them straight onto the page. That's how these are done. However, it works best for you and what you like. You're going to have your photos. You're going to have captions. And again, we'll have a video where we walk you through the actual photo piece, the kind of photos that are good to see, places you might find photos that maybe you haven't thought of because you haven't got to do all of your photos. Okay, and then that section that is your project record sheets. Now again, when we look at your leadership and citizenship and your ag and your achievement, we're going to look at that county report form. Now for your project pins and your overall outstanding project area awards, we're going to look at these project sheets to see what you have done. So it's going to be divided out. And so, okay, for instance, I mentioned Denny's horse last year. There are specific project sheets for the shooting sports disciplines. There are sheets that are livestock or animal related that all of our livestock animal projects need to use. There's a special one for foods. If you've done baking, any of the foods and nutrition projects where you're actually working with food, there's one for that. And then we have a general record sheet, which encompasses pretty much all of the other projects. So if you've been doing rocketry or woodworking or any of those types of things, they're going to go on that general project sheet. So the type of sheet you use will relate to which project you're doing. And again, one of the future videos will specifically look at the project sheets, the type of information to include, which sheet to use. Okay, and then we also have our self-determined project sheets, which some of you had to complete to go along with your exhibits into the fair. So that one's already done. So highly recommend that be one of the projects that you include in your book because it's completed. Okay, so with each project form, you get your completed form, a story, again, that can be just a couple paragraphs up to a page, and then a page of photos specific to that project. Okay, so this comes together to be a comprehensive look at what you have done this year. There's places even to put your activities outside of 4-H so that everything is here together. So you can look back on your accomplishments, what you've done. You can identify the goals you want to have for next year and start working toward those. So this is a great piece of your history for you to keep. And just to throw this out there for parents, when it is time to apply for scholarships and colleges and onto that next thing, completing resumes, here is all of your information for what has been done over their 4-H career. So we highly recommend completing a record book. Anything we can do to help you be successful and get that done, we want to do. So hopefully you can start pulling your stuff together, get what you need to get with us if you have questions or if we can provide more information, and check back for the next video and we will get you started with everything that you need. Thank you.